right, Nick, let's talk about a team that we love to talk about here on this show. Obviously, they made it to the Super Bowl last year, very talented roster all around the ball. But on the defensive side, they've been getting a little bit better, and we have some great injury news for the Cincinnati Bengals on the defensive side of the ball. And we'll get into that story here momentarily. But, Nick, we got to ask the Bengals fans, we're about midway through the season right now. We got to know, who is your favorite new addition to this team, whether it's a rookie, a free agent signing, a trade, whatever the case may be. Let us know in the comments below. Who is your favorite new addition to this Bengals team so far this year? But Nick, what is going on the injury front for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, so the Bengals obviously coming into the season off a Super Bowl run were a bit potential Super Bowl contender. Obviously, they have the weapons, but they've been bitten by the injury bug recently. Obviously, Jamar Chase on offense, and we've seen in the last couple of weeks the defense has been affected. But coming off their last big victory, they actually got some really good injury news here. So I'm going to read this for you. This is from Bengals Wire. This news is good news for the Cincinnati Bengals when it comes to key injured players. Meeting with the media on Monday after the teams went over the Carolina Panthers, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor offered encouraging updates. What looked like a serious knee injury for running back Chris Evans is a PCL issue that earns him a week-to-week status. Here's a big one here. That's the same status for first-round defensive back Dax Hill gets after suffering a shoulder injury after leaving Sunday's win. And I'll give you one more good defensive news here. He says, then there's nose tackle DJ Reader. Best guess was he'd be able to make it back after the bye week, given the expected timeline of the injury. Taylor says the team will make a decision next week, but sounded positive on the timeline. All right, Mike. So obviously, this is a Bengals team, especially in the back end, has been just hampered by injuries. Obviously, Awuzie got hurt. Mike Hilton's been battling injuries. I think Trey Flowers has been banged up at times as well. Dax Hill was a really high draft pick, first round guy, come out of Michigan, versatile, jack of all trades guy, can do a lot of different things, can be a really valuable role for this defense, especially with the injuries they have. If they had missed him for a potential long period of time, I think that'd be a really tough blow to overcome for a defense that, like I said, is already facing some injuries. But again, great news, week to week injury, which going into a bye, honestly sounds like to me he probably won't miss any time at all. I mean, isn't this pretty good news for a Bengals team that really needs it right now, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And Hill, he's obviously got significant amount of playing time ever since Awuzie went down. He's looking a lot better. And he looks, like you said, very versatile player, jack of all trades. He can do anything you want around the ball. But this Bengals defense, Nick, they have been shaping up quite nicely until the secondary kind of got it picked apart. Obviously, at the back end, you got Bell and Bates, two pretty good safeties. In the middle of the field, Logan Wilson looks like a stud. Pratt's coming into his own, not so bad. And on the edges, Nick, Hubbard and Hendrickson have been quite the force. So, this Bengals defense, when healthy, all the pieces aligned, looks like it can be pretty formidable. So I am very happy that Hill can fill in. Hopefully Awuzie gets better. There's no telling when he's going to be back at this point in time. But, Hill is filling in nicely, and you need to bolster this Bengals secondary if you want to have any aspirations of making it down the stretch. They've shown they can produce offensively without Jamar Chase. He'll be back sooner rather than later as well. But, this Bengals team, they're on a hot streak, Nick. Obviously, Mixon had 5 touchdowns last game. They're really coming into their own in the running game. So it's key that this defense stays healthy, even though they've already lost a lot of people. So Hill coming back is way bigger news than most people would think.
Oh, yeah, because it's one of those things is people sometimes forget it when they go through the season. Sometimes losing just one or two key guys, especially on defense. And mind you, you're Ravens fans, you know all about it. You lose one or two key corners last year, and the Ravens defense absolutely falls apart. This Bengals team absolutely scorched them towards the end of the year. It can be the same thing for any football team. So the fact that Dax Hill didn't fall down as well, because once you start running out of bodies in the back end, it gets really hard in today's NFL to play defense. It just because every team, especially every good team, the Bills, Chiefs, the Bengals themselves are a great example of it, have a lot of good receivers. And if you have a smart, accurate quarterback, you can just find the weaknesses and take advantage of it. Dax Hill's the kind of guy when they have the injuries, whether it's Hilton or Awuzie, can kind of fill the gaps, whether it's in a safety, nickel linebacker, maybe some corner situation. He has the versatility and ability to play all of them. And the fact that his injury is going to be very limited, luckily coming back after the bye is, again, fantastic news for a back end that really needs it. And this is a Bengals team, right, that sometimes coming off a Super Bowl run, there can be a little bit of Super Bowl hangover. We've seen it at times. Most of it has been injury related. But like you alluded to, Jamar Chase is sooner returning rather than later. Some of these other guys are coming back soon. So the Bengals here can weather the storm a little bit, get guys like Dax Hill, get cleaned up over the bye, and in a couple weeks get Chase back, maybe eventually get Awuzie back. They could be gearing up for a late season push and a potential another playoff Super Bowl kind of run.